Australia's billionaires became 50% richer during pandemic.
Here's a summary of the article.
The combined wealth of Australian billionaires has risen by more than 50% over the past year, new figures show, prompting concerns that the pandemic-triggered recession has turbocharged the gap between rich and poor. The combined net worth of Australia's billionaires dropped in March, when COVID-19 restrictions ramped up, before rebounding strongly and increasing throughout the course of the year, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. The combined worth of Australian billionaires was assessed to be 52.4% higher this week than at the same time last December. By comparison, billionaires in the US and UK recorded an increase of about 25% over the same period, the Bloomberg Index shows. Any of your readers would be punching the air if they had enjoyed a 20% increase in their wealth, and they would be double fist pumping the air if they had a 50% increase, and yet that's the story for the typical Australian billionaire. Bloomberg News says it tracks billionaires' personal wealth based on market and economic movements and its own reporting. Lee said while the JobKeeper wage subsidy probably had only a minor impact on the Bloomberg figures, he reaffirmed his concerns that the scheme intended to help battlers had ended up lining the pockets of billionaires.
This post received a score of 42,000, with an upvote ratio of 92%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Unfortunately, this is a story repeated across the globe now. Turns out the rich are well placed to make money no matter what.
Yep. Dow Jones Index broke 30,000 after being close to 18,000 only 10 months ago.
But being basically 30,000 11 months ago. Large growth after a crash as expected.
The middle class sold out of the market earlier this year and rich happily bought in. The lockdowns are the largest transfer of wealth to the rich in history.
Every depression is the solution to monopolize the growth of GDP, growth in wealth, stocks, bonds, real estate, and move it to the top 5%.
Disaster capitalism.
Vulture capitalism.
Capitalism.
Capitalism. Capitalism.
Ah yes, the scientific nomenclature.
My mother has some shares. She close to doubled her bottom line this year. What started as a hobby after she retired with €3,000 severance pay 20 years ago is $3,000 shy of $100,000 today. What pisses me off is that a lot of the companies she's invested in had their hand out looking for government bailouts, dumped their staff, yet their worth on paper at the same time was going through the roof and is still climbing.
Here in Australia we had companies relying on government handouts to keep staff paid while they couldn't work in retail stores during lockdowns, while online trading saw company profits increase and larger dividends get paid out to investors. I can now add Adair's and Nick Scully to my shit list alongside Harvey Norman and Domain. Remember when Harvey Norman said it was un-Australian to shop online?
Jerry Harvey is a greedy sack of shit.
I once heard him say, if you haven't made it by 25, you're never going to make it. Maybe he's right, but that's still a cunty thing to say, if only because it's dickheads like him who make it so you can't make it after 25.
What an idiotic and false thing to say. Many people have become successful in their 40s and later after not doing well in those earlier years. A few examples: J.K. Rowling, Samuel L. Jackson, Stan Lee, Henry Ford. Only an imbecile would listen to what a slimeball like Jerry Harvey has to say and take it as fact.
Of course. Stocks went up. Their wealth is largely correlated to the markets.
Big brain.
We need robot communism to bring us free luxury products and services.
Clive Palmer is a fatty McFuckhead.
Clive Palmer is a fatty McFuckhead.
Clive Palmer is a fatty McFuckhead.
They will just convince the people that foreigners and immigrants are the problem and increase their wealth by another 50%.
And we sit by and do nothing but make snarky comments on social media while the world burns around us.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.